Top 10 Dictators, monsters in human form. History remembers their faces, but not the screams that echoed behind palace walls. These are not just leaders. They were architects of fear, and their legacies were written in blood. 1. Adolf Hitler, the architect of death Germany, 1933-1945. A man who rose from a failed artist to one of the most feared figures in human history. Hitler promised revival but delivered genocide. Over 11 million lives lost, including 6 million Jews in the Holocaust. Entire families vanished into smoke, and Europe was left in ashes. Even in death, his name still chills the world. 2. Joseph Stalin, the Iron Shadow Soviet Union, 1924-1953. Stalin ruled not with leadership, but with paranoia. He saw enemies in every shadow and erased them. Through purges, labor camps, and engineered famines, millions perished. The people whispered his name in fear, knowing a single word could mean death in the night. 3. Pol Pot, the butcher of Cambodia, 1975-1979. He dreamed of a perfect society, free of class and corruption, but his utopia became a graveyard. The Khmer Rouge forced city dwellers into the countryside. Anyone educated was executed. In 4 years, 2 million Cambodians died in silence, their bones now littering the fields of death. 4. Idi Amin, the madman of Uganda, 1971-1979. Charismatic at first, monstrous in the end, Amin ruled with cruelty and superstition, executing rivals, expelling ethnic groups, and allegedly feeding his enemies to crocodiles. His reign left hundreds of thousands dead, and even now, elders in Uganda speak his name in whispers, as if he might still be listening. 5. Saddam Hussein, the tyrant of Baghdad, Iraq, 1979-2003. He built palaces of gold and prisons of pain. His secret police made people disappear, his armies gassed villages, and he ruled Iraq through terror and loyalty bought with blood. When he finally fell, the world saw what he'd left behind, a kingdom built on bones. 6. Benito Mussolini, the first fascist Italy, 1922-1943. He wanted glory, power, and empire, but Mussolini's dream turned into a nightmare, assassinations, oppression, and wars that drained Italy of life. In the end, his own people dragged him through the streets and hung him upside down. The father of fascism became its first corpse. 7. Kim Jong-il, the puppet master, North Korea, 1994-2011. He lived in luxury while his people starved. Through propaganda, fear, and cult-like worship, Kim made himself a god who watched his citizens die in silence. His rule turned a nation into a prison, where even the wind seemed afraid to whisper the truth. 8. Francisco Franco, the silent executioner, Spain, 1939-1975. Franco seized power through war and ruled through silence. His Spain was one of prisons and graves, of families afraid to speak aloud. Tens of thousands were executed or disappeared. When he finally died, the country exhaled, like a ghost released from a long haunting. 9. Mao Zedong, the chairman of Death China, 1949-1976. He promised equality but delivered famine and chaos. Under Mao's Great Leap Forward and Cultural Revolution, tens of millions died. Neighbors turned on neighbors. Families were broken by fear. His portrait still hangs, but behind the image lies the shadow of countless graves. 10. Muammar Gaddafi, the desert tyrant, Libya, 1969-2011. Once hailed as a revolutionary, Gaddafi became a mad king. He ruled for 42 years, crushing dissent and torturing those who opposed him. His cruelty was legendary, and when he fell, it was by the hands of those who had lived too long in his nightmare. His end was as brutal as his rule. The rise of each dictator began with promises and ended in screams. Power, once absolute, always devours itself. The ghosts of their victims still linger, in stories, in soil, and in the silence of those who remember.